Well, good morning. We got lot of smiling, happy faces today. So welcome to our weekly board session, the Marion County Board of Commissioners. It's Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. We're here in the Senator Hearing Room for our weekly board session at 555 Court Street. And as always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance every Wednesday morning for our board session. Join us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, that sounds so good. Thank you for joining us. We've got nobody signed up for public comment, but we're going to have some presentations today that we're really excited about. Our first presentation is our annual volunteer report and award ceremony, and Lisa is here to kick us off. And by the way, I don't think my breath stinks, but somebody gave me a whole bunch of these mints, and I'm chewing on them.
I know
they
nothing.
were for you, Commissioner.
Almost certainly.
Okay, there you go. Welcome, Lisa.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. For the record, Lisa Miller, Volunteer Services Coordinator for Marion County. I'm here this morning on this Wednesday, right in the middle of National Volunteer Week, to take some time to celebrate and honor our volunteers that we have here in the county. So I've provided the annual report for you. Hopefully you have a copy of that. We're just going to have a brief overview of a couple of our programs. We don't have enough time to go through all of them. I'm not sure that everyone would want to stay here all day to hear all the stories, but they are great. So we're just going to have a really brief overview. And then at the end of this report, we will get on to our awards celebration to recognize a few special volunteers. So to start with the numbers, last year we had over 3,500 volunteers here in the county in different departments. They put in over 129,000 hours. And if we had to put a value on this time, the national standard rates that as $24.69 an hour, which would actually equal out to be over $3 million in staff time provided by our volunteers. So that's a great contribution to our county. I think we could all agree on that. So I really like pictures. I think that the pictures can say a lot more than I can. So I've tried to include as many photos as I can with these stories. One of our big programs here at the county is our victim assistance. We have volunteers that have 49 victim assistance volunteers. Last year alone, they responded to the hospital 156 times to help sexual assault victims. They've supported over 2,000 victims over the year, and I just have to say personally, these volunteer positions, this is a really hard thing to do, emotionally hard, a lot of training involved, and so we are greatly appreciative of these volunteers and the work that they do. Our emergency management program has a large number of volunteers that continues to grow every year with the promotion of the program. Emergency management had 460 volunteers last year. They're in all the different communities in the county. I believe we have actually a CERT team in almost every area in Marion County. So someone that's interested in joining, they can definitely find one close by. There's a lot of training involved with this volunteer opportunity. And just a few things that they did last year. One of them, very well known during the Salem Water Advisory. Our CERT teams really stepped up and helped out with the water distribution sites. Greatly appreciated that assistance. We had more than 160 volunteers help out during that event. Our dog shelter is a really great place to volunteer. I have to say, with those puppy faces, how can you not have a good time over there? We have a lot of dedicated volunteers that help our dog shelter every day. We have volunteers that are helping with our dog walking and taking care of the dogs, but we also have some volunteer programs with foster care and adoption, really helping to promote the dogs that are in the shelter that are looking for a forever home. So greatly appreciate those volunteers. Our Public Works Department has quite a few volunteer opportunities as well. We have some volunteers in the Parks program that help with the maintenance and care of the parks. We had a couple of events last year. We had a new litter cleanup called Trashy Tuesdays, which was very popular, I think because of the name. It drew a lot of attention, but we had quite a few people respond to that. And just as a side note, it's continued on. The next litter cleanup is Saturday. So we can't go with the Trashy Tuesday name. I'm not sure if she came up with another creative name or not, but there is another opportunity to participate this weekend. Our Sheriff's Office, of course, has a lot of volunteers as well. We have a lot of interns and students that are placed at the Sheriff's Office to get experience, but we also have a lot of other volunteers, parole and probation. We have volunteers actually placed in our institutions who help provide support groups for the clients in the institutions. And we have a lot of cadets. The cadets are very dedicated to what they're doing. They go through a lot of training and are required to spend a lot of time. And we have 30 cadets from last year who are trained and ready to go. They're gearing up for a very busy summer because usually the summertime, you will find them at just about every event that we have around the county. Specifically about our search and rescue teams, they were pretty busy last year as well. Here's a couple of examples of the things that they participated in last year, helping out. They had 10 search and rescue missions that they were involved with. These are the ones that were highlighted in just a few that were highlighted in the media that had successful endings. We like the happy endings. They're not always that way. It's tough work that they do as well and a lot of training. So when they're not responding, they're out there training to make sure that they are ready to respond as needed. When we talk about volunteers, we can't forget about our boards and committees. The county, we had 181 board members last year serving in various committees. They had some busy times as well. Just as an example, our Solid Waste Management Advisory Council, they had quite a few discussions and a lot of things to work through with our recycling changes. That was a hot topic that they had to talk about. And then the Planning Commission, they were talking about residential beekeeping. I'm not sure how that ended, but I'm kind of interested to find out.
With some honey, I think.
I hope so, yes. And of course, we have our Marion County Fair. This fair is run on volunteer power. It takes a lot of volunteers to pull it off. These are just some of the volunteers that participated last year to help make this fair so successful. There's a lot of fun things that people can participate in. When I have volunteers that just really want to get involved and they're not sure what they want to do, this is definitely where I direct them for the first time volunteer opportunities. And after I say that, I have to say that we're recruiting for volunteers for the fair right now. So if anybody's interested, sign up. So this is just a really brief overview of some of the great things that our volunteers have done over last year. The report will be made available to the public over on our internet page, and there's some printed copies over on the table if anybody wants any. But I just have to say thank you to all of our volunteers that give so much to the county, and thank you to the department staff and the coordinators that are working directly side by side with these volunteers to help make it successful. And of course to our department heads and elected officials for supporting volunteerism and encouraging that to happen. And if you have any questions about the report, I'd be happy to answer them.
Commissioner? No, thank you, Lisa, for the presentation. And we all know that we couldn't be successful in Marion County as successful as we are without all our volunteers and play a critical role. So thank you for what you do to help coordinate all that too. Okay. Thank you. So we're going to do a little...
So if we're ready for the award, we can get started. Okay. And I just have to make a plug for our selection committee because our departments actually nominate volunteers for special awards. And the nominations go out to a independent selection committee that's not involved with anything in the county. Jennifer Hingston from Salem Police Department, Alan Pfeiffer from Marion Polk Food Share, Zyra Flores from Northwest Senior and Disability Services, and Tibby Larson from City of Salem Parks. They helped greatly to go through these nominations and help choose some volunteers. And they said that all of the nominations were fabulous and they would give awards to all of them if they could. So,
great. So I go on down. Oh, can I just say something? There's a picture of their, on their Marine board. I think it's on the docks, and one of those cadets was giving me a ticket. Can you get rid of that?
Have to talk to Sheriff about that one.
Okay, well, let's turn this thing on. Hello? Test. Hello? Test, test, test. Hello? The green light's on, but it's on. Test, test. Hello? We're not technically advanced as commissioners. There you go. That's what you do. Just needed to warm up. Okay, now we've got a microphone, so you can all hear us, and we've got a little presentation here for several people. Right. So the first is for outstanding nominees, right? We'd like to recognize one of our dog shelter volunteers, Chelsea and Pete. Chelsea and Pete. Are Chelsea and Pete here? They're not here. Okay. Okay. So the department coordinator can come up and we'll. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what Chelsea and Pete do for the dog shelter. Well, or maybe just what happens there with the volunteers. Why are they important? Yeah.
So Pete is one of our volunteers who's gone through the most training so that he can work in our dog play groups, which means getting several dogs together to help with evaluations to see how they get along with each other and their behavior. And Pete comes out 2 to 3 times a week. And he's been with us a couple of years now. He's been doing quite a bit of work with us. Chelsea actually was a student from Woodburn High School. This was her senior project. She came out and learned what a shelter is and took photographs for us and learned a little bit about how the photography works for social media and how that helps us out. And then kind of just shadowing staff and volunteers to see what else happens at a shelter.
Great. Well, we thank them for their service, and you're going to make sure they get those, right? I did get to do a ride-along recently with the shelter. It was kind of interesting. Yeah. My dog got certified. Yeah, my dog got arrested. Yeah. Here, your turn. You want to go this time?
Sure. Our next nominee is Dave Kinney from the Budget Committee. It says he's here, but there he is. Good. I'm kind of unhappy you're here, and I'll tell you why. I was going to say all sorts of nice things about you. But now I'll just read the prepared script. No, I will throw in a couple. I've known Dave for a long time. He's serving on the Budget Committee. He was a city manager at Staten, I think Mill City, done a bunch of project work. But what I've really enjoyed on the Budget Committee is I watch him, and he just lights up when he figures out what's really going on with whatever issue it is, and he seems to get right to the bottom of it. Now, Dave has served as a member of the Budget Committee for 13 years, taking time away from work during business day for budget meetings, Budget Committee hearing process. As part of the Budget Committee, Dave participates in the process that provides an approved budget to send to the commissioners for a final adoption. His unique experience and understanding of the budget process, and is able to take complicated budget matters and put them into terms the public can understand, which has benefited the public process portion of the budget approval requirements. Without this process and Dave's many years of participation, the county would not have statutory authority to expend funds and provide programs for citizens of Marion County. So thank you, Dave Kinney, for your many years of service to the Marion County Budget Committee. And you need
We want everyone. Go ahead, you too, Lisa.
Mr. Chair, if I might, as the county's budget officer, Dave has been an integral part to our budget process for many years, and I don't think we could have done it well without him. And I really appreciate the volunteers, but Dave's been such an important part of our budget committee and the budget process. I just wanted to thank him for that.
Okay, you got the next one?
I think I'm gonna have trouble with the name.
Oh,
Our next outstanding nominee is Sol Santibi? Santibi. Sorry. From our juvenile department. Sol is a volunteer artist in residence for the Marion County Juvenile Detention. She's been working with youth to provide opportunities for self-expression through art. Sol is responsible for the planning, teaching, inspiration, and collaboration with the youth at the detention facility. She takes their thoughts and ideas and helps transform them into wall murals within the detention facility. We saw some of those. They're beautiful. Not only is Sol creating a positive environmental changes to the starkness of a detention facility through the addition of wall murals within the facility, but she's also helping youth learn new skills and express themselves with art throughout the process. The final product will benefit future youth housed in the facility by creating a more encouraging and positive environment. So thank you so much, Sol, for all your work and for your service to the Marion County Juvenile Department.
I would just like to commend Mike Miller, the director of the juvenile detention. He has a vision. He says that the punishment is being there for the kids because these are kids. And so we talk a lot about trauma-informed care, and rather than it being just a punishment and seeing nothing on the walls to inspire the kids and their learning and their progress in their life and help them to have an actual chance at life and maybe even being a volunteer one day. And so this first piece is about exploring new opportunities, and I created the design based on all the kids' wants and needs and their dreams and what they wanted to look at while they were in detention. And so I took everything that they wanted, and I created this piece called Exploring Possibilities, and having them as children and remembering how it is to be a child, and how learning is fun, and dreaming and imagination. And so it has like all the elements of the skies, the waters, and the earth, and just cycles and things like that. So I really appreciate Mike Miller and having the opportunity for the kids to participate in something better than what they've known. So thank you.
I was joking with her that we'd turn her loose on this room and brighten it up, but I got to thinking about it. The bleakest room in Courthouse Square is Commissioner Willis's. I mean, really. One faded watercolor, that just doesn't make it.
Hey, he's new. Give him a little time. He'll get it decorated. Yeah. Okay, our next volunteers are, actually we have three, and they're from our victims' assistance, and they volunteer in our victims' assistance. It's Lynn Cardiff, Laura Bennett, and Caitlin Wise. And Laura's unable to be here today, I believe, but is Caitlin and Lynn here? If you'd come on up. I'll just say a little bit while they're coming up about Laura. Laura's been volunteering in our sexual assault response advocate for Marion County District Attorney's Office for 11 years. And in the last 5 years, she's responded to more than 25 calls, one that lasted nearly 10 hours. So I want to thank Laura for that. Lynn, welcome. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks for being here. Lynn began her service with the Marion County District's Attorney Victims Assistance Division in September of 2005. I was just a young guy then. Yeah. She started as a victim advocate, assisting victims of crime by helping to navigate the criminal justice process and provide resource referrals. About 3 years ago, Lynn took on the task of compiling our grant statistics. Keeping accurate stats for these grants is crucial, as the program relies on funding from several federal and state grants to operate. The process to compile the numbers is tedious and time-consuming, and grants are due every quarter. In addition to grant statistics, Lynn also keeps the court calendar up to date for case managers. Victims assistance staff appreciate your time and commitment, and more than you will ever know, to do all those tasks. Thank you very much, Lynn, for your services to our victims and to Marion County's community. And Caitlin, welcome. Nice to meet you. Caitlin began her service as an intern with Marion County District Attorney's Office in March of 2014 and continued as a volunteer victim advocate at completion of her internship, assisting victims in navigating the criminal justice system. Caitlin also serves as an on-call sexual assault advocate, responding to the hospital to meet with victims when a sexual assault occurs. Caitlin always finds time in her busy schedule to take at least one 24-hour response shift a month, as well as work with victims as a court case advocate on a regular basis. Caitlin responded to over 20 sexual assault calls in the last 4 years and often receives cards and notes from victims she serves, thanking you for your kindness and compassion. Caitlin, thank you for your service to our victims and to Marion County as a whole. So come on over, both of you. Lynn, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we're ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do one more.
Thank you both.
The Advisory Board Volunteer of the Year is to recognize individuals who made significant contributions to Marion County Advisory Board. This year, Bob Anderson will be receiving an award for his contributions to Marion County Solid Waste Management Advisory Council, nominated by the Environmental Services Division of Public Works. I saw you, Bob. Come on up.
Well, there it is. Hi.
Bob has been a member of the Marion County Solid Waste Advisory Committee Council, SWAMAC, for 18 years and also repeatedly led the council as chair. He's helped to provide guidance for the waste reduction recycling programs, including some of the first commingled recycling collection programs in Oregon. Bob and SWAMAC were instrumental in starting one of the only programs in the nation that offers curbside collection of paint and household batteries, among other items. Bob represents the county with excellent, actively promotes waste reduction recycling program, even going so far as to wrap the shop cars at AJ's Automotive Repair with Earthwise logo to help encourage other businesses to get involved. Through Bob's leadership, AJ's has deservedly won multiple awards, including the Mid-Valley Green Awards, Best of Mid-Valley, and Oregon Business Magazine's 100 Best Companies to Work For. Thank you, Bob, for your leadership and commitment to the Marion County and the Solid Waste Management Advisory Committee.
Thank you very much. Over the years, lots of folks have said, Bob, what does the Marion County Solid Waste Advisory Council do? I used to try to explain the whole thing, but we do so many different things. I've just learned to kind of consolidate it down to a sentence. And the way I answer that question is I simply say, our council deals with the several 100,000 tons of everything people throw in the garbage every year. So, thank you very much.
Getting a picture here.
There you go. It's good, Alyssa.
She loves this part.
I know. We'll do one more.
Big smile now.
Thank you, Bob. You know, Well, and one thing he forgot to do, he forgot about what they deal is they also try to help us not throw things in the garbage by programs of reducing and recycling. And, you know, it's interesting, you get asked, what does advisory board on solid waste do? I get asked what a commissioner does, and I just say we commission things.
There you go.
Okay, so the next is the Program Award. And this is intended for those volunteers who display dedication and exemplary accomplishments within the division or program in which they volunteer. The recipient of the Program Division Award goes to Monica Melhorn, a volunteer at the Marion County Dog Shelter. Come on up, Monica. Monica began volunteering with the dog shelter in 2018. She started as a dog walker, but soon found the foster program was a better fit for her. Monica has a patient and calm personality. She typically fosters the difficult to adopt dogs, high energy, herding breeds, young and smart dogs. These dogs need to find a forever home, able to devote the time and energy necessary to their high needs. Monica's fostering work offers insight to staff on the dog's behaviors and needs, as well as helps potential adopters who want to know as much as possible about a dog before adopting. She willingly keeps dogs, sometimes for weeks if needed, to help give time for staff to find appropriate homes. She also regularly brings foster dogs to outreach events to help expose them to potential forever homes. Having a foster volunteer like Monica is essential in helping these dogs become adoptable. The staff at the dog shelter is grateful for her help. We would like to recognize you for your service to Marion County. Thank you, Monica.
Go ahead, Lisa. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Do one more.
I whispered into Monica's ear, I said, I need a foster person that can handle me like that. High energy, crazy, yeah.
Smart dogs.
Oh, yeah, smart dogs, yeah. Our Youth Volunteer of the Year Award was developed to recognize volunteer accomplishments of young people 24 years and younger in county programs and departments. The Youth Volunteer of the Year recipient is Peyton Schlag, who serves at the Marion County Fair. Peyton, you're here? Come on up, Peyton. Peyton has volunteered for 3 years at the Marion County Fair. She was only 8 years old when she first volunteered. What a great start. Good job. She was responsible for asking adults their names to check them off the registration list for the fair event dinner. At ages 10 and 11, Peyton was stationed at the information booth. Peyton went above and beyond to prepare her role. She walked around the vicinity to learn where the bathrooms and the main attractions were located, so when the people asked for directions, Peyton could direct them where to go. That's great. At a young age, Peyton has demonstrated excellent customer service and leadership skills. She takes initiative to greet people and is always courteous and professional. Peyton is already signed up to volunteer for the upcoming 2019 fair. Yeah, and I saw Tamara back there. Yeah. Peyton's parents attribute her desire to give back directly to her involvement with the fair at a young age. In addition to the fair, Peyton is now volunteer as a peer tutor at her middle school. Peyton is well deserving of the recognition as Youth Volunteer of the Year. Thank you for your service to Marion County and the citizens of Marion County. Thank you.
All right. Go ready? 1, 2, 3. And do one more.
Well, no, I haven't. No, and I've not really met Peyton before, but I've been supporting her, but I know she's active. I bought a lot of pies and stuff that her mother comes through, and there's been a couple other different items, but good for you and keep it up. Our next award is the Mary Piermine Outstanding Volunteer Group. Mary Piermine was a friend of mine. As time goes on, fewer people remember, but she was dynamic and active and effective is what I'd say about her. But the recipient of this Mary Piermine Award goes to Lowell Spring and the Salem Audubon Society for their commitment to adopt a road program. Now, they're not here apparently, so Kevin Hansen from Environmental, here you are, Kevin. I'll go ahead and read it. Excuse me. Lowell Spring has been cleaning the roadside on Buena Vista Road South and Ankeny Hill South since 1995. I think that road's underwater. I don't know if that helps clean it, or there'll be more to pick up afterward.
We're going to float it all down the, you-know-where.
Oh. He does most of his work on his own, representing the Salem Audubon Society, excellent following the Adopt a Road procedures for safety and tracking. Been cleaning roadside for 23 years, not only saving the county time and money, but encouraging others to clean up and or to throw away the garbage properly. The Salem Audubon Society and Lowell Spring deserve recognition for the long-term dedication to preserving the beauty of nature. Thanks for the service.
Well, you said it pretty eloquently. He's been with us for a very long time. He's a very great volunteer, and he pretty much does twice a year, over 150 hours, I think you said that, maybe, possibly. And that equates to almost 30 or 40 miles of roadside that he does, which is a lot. And the trash, of course, we dispose of properly, is a lot of weight. So we appreciate his service, and unfortunately, he's going to have to not do it anymore, so he'll be missed. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks, Kevin.
One more? 1, 2, 3.
Thanks for your service,
So the late Rex Hartley served as a county judge and commissioner for Marion County from 1951 through 1966. Judge Hartley was dedicated to involving citizens in the development of the county. This year's recipient of the Rex Hartley Volunteer of the Year Award goes to Ulrich Reich from the Marion County Emergency Management. Ulrich Reich, otherwise known as Uli, was the driving force in establishing a Community Emergency Response Team, CERT, in Woodburn in 2014. Uli's leadership and continued dedication to recruiting, training, and managing this CERT team has resulted in a strong and successful response team that is well integrated into the community and capable of assisting local partners in a variety of tasks. One such example of Uli's success is the development of the Woodburn CERT Firefighter Rehab Team. This team responds to local emergencies to provide rehabilitation services to fire and police service personnel. This is a huge asset to the North Marion County community and the emergency services personnel. Under Uli's leadership, Woodburn CERT also assists with open houses at the fire department, community preparedness events, CPR, AED, and CERT basic classes. Uli's tenacity and leadership has grown his CERT team to be one of the best in the region. Uli's positive attitude and dedication has had a great impact on Marion County. His work with CERT is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Uli, for your service to Marion County Emergency Management.
All right, thank you.
Popular guy. Thank you. Well, it's been a great morning, and I want to thank everybody who's here that volunteers, and people that are not here that volunteers in Marion County. But one of the things that happens every Wednesday morning when we're here is that we're on CCTV, Facebook Live. You can watch us, and There's a gentleman that's hiding back behind that door that I'm going to ask to come out of there. Joe Fabry. Joe, I know you can hear me. So, all right, good. You see, he knows who the boss is. These two don't, but he does. Right. So every Wednesday morning, Joe is here as a volunteer with CCTV, and Joe checks the audio and the camera equipment, creates graphics, inserts photos, makes us look better than we really are, right? And all around, make sure everything runs smoothly with CCTV. We open and we have transparent meetings that are they're a cornerstone of local government, having transparent and open meetings. And we want to thank Joe for helping to make that happen, and all his years with CCTV and Marion County for your volunteer service, Joe. Thank you very much. You want to say anything?
Well, if it wasn't for Sherrod back there also, he has, how you would say, encouraged me to keep coming and keep doing, and as long as I can walk around and as long as I can get here, I'm going to be here.
All right. We need you here, buddy. Thank you very much.
You got to get a picture. All right, everyone ready? 1, 2, 3. Do one more. All right, thanks.
Hurry back there because you need to make us look good. You know that. Well, I think that concludes our awards, right? Lisa, do you have anything you want to say? All right.
Lacey, you didn't give acknowledgement to these flowers and the fact that we'll be getting decorated every week from now on. It's wonderful.
We'll work on it. I'll talk to Joe about that.
All right. Yeah.
So the flowers are from Egan Gardens. Every year we get flowers from Egan Gardens, and I have to say they are the best flowers ever. They last for a really long time. So please, volunteers, friends, family, take a flower with you, and then we're going to have a little reception in the Salem Conference Room next door with some cupcakes and coffee. So you're all invited.
You shouldn't announce the cupcakes because now Sam's going to leave and we may not have a quorum. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll go right through our next presentation and then to our board session. And our next presentation is with North Santiam Economic Development Corporation, or GROW EDC, and Allison McKenzie is here. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and it was fun to see all the excitement from the volunteers. We rely a lot on volunteers ourselves in the last 12 months. We've had about 85 volunteers working with us with programs in the Mill City School District and with our tourism programs. So since I haven't been here since December of 2017, I want to do an overview of the things that we've been working on and talk about something that is an urgent matter for us. So, and especially since this is new for Commissioner Willis, you may not know a lot about us. This will give you some background on how we weave into economic development in Marion County. So we do 3 things at GROW. We offer free, confidential, one-on-one consulting services to anybody who wants them in our area, any entrepreneur who wants to open, expand, buy, sell, tweak, or diversify a business. We also work with nonprofits. We work with any group working on a special project. We work with communities, anybody in our area, which extends from Almsville and Scio all the way up to Marion Forks and Brighton Bush. That's the main thing that we do. Most of our clients are micro-enterprises with 1 to 5 employees. These are the heart and soul of our communities. They're the businesses that make us distinctive, so we don't just look like another big box suburb somewhere. Those micro-enterprises actually were the only group nationally that did well during the last recession. They actually grew when everybody else was shrinking. The second thing we do is offer workshops and classes that augment that one-on-one consulting work. So, for example, we have a class we've been running now for 7 years called Small Steps, Big Results. It's a right brain, left brain planning workshop that we do once a month. It's a drop-in class. Anybody's welcome to do that. And we hold other classes as well. I'll give you a little more update on some current things we're working on. And then the third thing we do is we get involved in larger regional economic development work. And right now, those 2 things have been working with youth engagement or workforce development, and especially in tourism. So those are the main things that we do. Our clients right now, our statistics have stayed about the same for about 10 years. I've been here for 10 years working in this project. About more than half of our clients are low or moderate income. We work in 7 of the communities that are either wholly or in part in Marion County, along that stretch of highway across Highway 22, plus Lyons and Scioto. About 2/3 of our clients are women, and that's not surprising for 2 reasons. One is our model is collaborative. The work that we do one-on-one comes from a rural development model that has been used around the world in rural areas for about 35 years. And also women tend to be chronically underemployed in our area. So it's not surprising that many of them want to start new businesses and do that kind of thing. The majority of our clients come from Staten, also not surprising because that's our largest population base. Number 2 is Mill City. So those are the things that we work on. At its root, our work is about building and facilitating relationships and working to encourage people to cross community lines, to collaborate with each other, to improve their economy, improve their communities, improve their livelihoods. So for the last few months, there are a couple things that we've been doing. One is working on tourism to build a regional destination so that North Sandy and River Country is a place that people go to instead of drive through to get to somewhere else. We have about 1.7, 1.8 million cars that drive on that road every year. So we want to get more of them stopping there. We work in collaboration with Travel Salem, the Willamette Valley Visitors Association, and Travel Oregon. So we're able to leverage the work that Travel Salem and other tourism groups do here by providing those volunteers on the road. In our area. And one of the things that we've done in the last couple of years is started our first multi-day, multi-location festival, River Fusion 22. We won a couple of awards for that, Best Festival of the Year in 2017 for a small festival, and in Oregon, and also the Most Inspired Award from Travel Salem. In fact, we just had a meeting yesterday of 27 people who came together to talk about what we're going to do for the summer and encourage better cross-business collaboration so that when our visitors are here, we're not sitting in our silos in our communities trying to hog all our visitors in our single community, but spreading them around so that the visitor experience is really quite wonderful. Another thing that we've done recently is we've partnered with the Small Business Development Center to bring a few classes here. We did 3 of them in our Money and Management series to help people with capital access, how to talk to a banker, the kinds of things you need to know when you're borrowing money, how to understand financial statements. And our last class last week was building business plans. We have a couple of other programs with youth that are wrapping up. Our Young Professionals group is spinning off to go on its own, and I'm meeting with them on Thursday over lunch to see what they want to do next. We've accomplished what we wanted to do with that group. We're really happy about that. And then our pilot project in the Mill City schools to connect businesses with students in the business community and take them on field trips and that kind of thing. That has transitioned to more of a regular client relationship because they were able to hire a full-time career coach this year, which is really exciting for us. So to give you an idea of what we do in a week, I was in a class with some high school students in Staten in their entrepreneurship class last Monday. That was really fun. I was only going to go there once, but I ended up coming twice, and I think I'm going to go back one more time because they're having a little tricky time with their marketing, so I'm going to come and help them with that. They're delightful. I don't normally volunteer for the first class period of the day, but they're worth going for. We had our Small Steps, Big Results class. We had our class on business plans. I've seen a couple of trends recently. I've had 6 or 7 people with brand new business ideas come just in the last 10 days. That's unusual. I've had an unusual number of people involved in health and wellness. That's kind of interesting to me that we have 4 different people doing something different in health and wellness coming up right now. And I've also had clients that I've not seen for quite a long time, 7 years, 8 years in some cases, come back to me and say how grateful they are for the work that we did because they're still using the stuff that we taught them 8 years ago. And that's really gratifying. And those are from all over the place. In the last week, we worked with people, Mill City, Gates, Staten, Sublimity, Scioto, Almsville. I'm talking to somebody in Idana today. I think I'm leaving somebody out. But we're all over the place. So those are the basic things we're doing. So one of the main reasons I wanted to come here today is is that we learned in March, I met with Tom Hogan in March, and learned that the Community Services Department opted not to include us in the budget for this year. Our allocation every year is $60,000. That's very meaningful to our group. We could not survive without it. There's some things that we've done in the last several years that we've been able to do because of the funding that we get from Marion County and because there's a stable source of funding. Our Economic Vitality Summit that we did in 2015 in concert with the Ford Family Foundation and Rural Development Initiatives. We had 163 people attend that event. That was more than they'd ever had at any kind of program and more business owners that they ever saw there. Our Rural Tourism Studio that we got with Travel Oregon, we popped to the head of the queue in 2016. We had 89 people go through that training for tourism. Again, that was another project that we would not have been able to bring if I hadn't been able to develop some of my time and work with all of our volunteers to bring that together. Both of those programs have a $20,000 value. That money is not money that comes to us. All of these hundreds of clients that we've worked with over the years, we've been able to do because of that. So when I met with Tom in mid-March, my intention was to get out in front of our contract for the next year and get some work in place because I'm also leaving. And I'm really concerned at this critical juncture that as I move on to whatever I choose to do next, and I'm happy to fill you in on that at another time, I want to make sure that these programs that we have in this organization continues to operate. If we don't get this funding, it will close. So the question is the work that we do important enough in Marion County to continue to go? And as we look at the economic development strategy that the county has, we really fit primarily in your categories number 3 and 5. Our work with micro enterprises, the work we do with youth engagement and workforce development, and the work that we do on destination development for tourism. Travel Salem does beautiful work in tourism, but they can't do everything by themselves. They have to have groups like ours to leverage their time and energy. Danielle is doing excellent work in our area with the big projects she's working on with wastewater, getting the Tiger Grant for the bridge in Mill City. Those are really important. But those are not working with the small businesses. Most of our businesses, top 3 are services, retail, and hospitality that we work with. These are the businesses that give our towns the character. And placemaking is really important in the strategic plan for the county. If you don't have those small businesses there, you don't have communities. So I don't have a horse in this race anymore. It's important to me. I really celebrate all the work that we do. We help keep. This is really not my intention. We keep dreams alive in a place where it's not easy to do that. So I'm here to say, please put us back in the budget. Put us back in the budget, and not just for a year. Continue to support us. Without the ongoing funding, it'll just cease to exist.
Allison, thank you for coming. As far as I know, it's in the budget. We're going to have some discussion to finalize how that's going to be. But talk about this program has been so centered on you, and I'm so pleased with the results you've had and the work you've done. So that is my issue. So how do you see a succession? Is your board willing to step up? Do you have a person ready to take your role, or what will the county? Who will we deal with?
Well, that's a good question. I think the board will want to take a little bit of time while they look for someone. There have been a few people who've expressed interest in my job. I did meet somebody actually about 10 days ago, I think, who'd be great, maybe last week. If we could convince her to do it, she'd be wonderful. I really, for the programs like ours to be successful, you need somebody who enjoys people, thinks everybody gets a chance to run their idea up the flagpole. And we look for passion in businesses and in projects first. And if you wonder if that makes sense, they're still chia pets being sold on TV. So we know that things you think would never work in a million years can actually work. So I'm not sure who that person is. I think the board will want to take some time to think about that over the summer and probably do the hiring in the fall. Summer tends to be quiet for us unless we have an event going on, and we're moving our River Fusion 22 Festival to the spring of 2020. So that's not a big issue right now. And also, they want to know, are we are we going to be funded or are we not? Am I helping them transition to the next step, or am I transitioning to helping them shut down? And that's really been the big question for the last few weeks. So I don't know who that's going to be. I know they'll be looking for somebody who really likes people, who has an ability to learn the methodology we use. I said I'd be happy to teach how we do that. I'd like to say it requires rocket science to be able to do that, but that's not true. It's more about listening, building and facilitating relationships, connecting people with resources, and helping them build the management teams in their own businesses so they can stand on their own 2 feet. That's really what it's all about. It's very teachable.
I see Tamara, who is our Director of Community Services and Economic Development, is here. Tamara, you want to say something?
So good morning, Commissioners. Tamara Getch, Director for Community Services. Glad to be up here with Allison, and I just wanted to let your board know, as well as you and our viewing audience, as well as the commissioners, when we held our economic development budget discussion with the board in early February, we had this discussion. We were requested to include this into our budget for the coming year, and that in fact it has been submitted to John Latimer for consideration and the budget committee. So there is the annual allocation in the Community Services Economic Development Program for GROW. And so we will continue to be looking at that, and we're looking at processing a contract for that so that there won't be an interruption.
So if I may, obviously, those budgets are presented as presentations.
Correct.
We have a budget committee. We gave an award to Mr. Kenny today, who sits on that budget committee with us, along with 2 other public members and the 3 commissioners. And we deliberate over those things, and we'll be able to do that in June, and there'll be a final decision that'll be made at that point in time. So
Correct.
I understand that. And I see the budget officer grabbing his microphone to correct me on something I just said. So I'm always used to being that way.
No, I'm not correcting you. I'm just telling you it's going to be in my recommendation to the Budget Committee to fund it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, what he just said. Okay?
Thank you, and thank you for the continued funding. We've been partners with Marion County long before I got here 10 years ago. It makes a difference. I want to say, Tamara is really easy to work with. I love how she advocates for people. When we've had something we needed, some hiccup or something, she's always been really great, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, her leadership in that department, you referred to Danielle and Tom, and everybody in that department are great people, and appreciate Tamara's leadership,
Well,
so thank you.
And thank you for the recommendation. I appreciate that.
I can make one more comment.
Sam, sorry, Commissioner.
Before you leave, Allison, and just for everybody's knowledge, Allison and GROW were some of the first efforts we made in the canyon. Well, she said 10 years ago, and I've seen her out, and I've seen the group out, I've seen these young professionals, met with them. It was all we had going at the time, and I would like it to be an ongoing and continued effort. That's all.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. Okay, we will go right into our consent calendar. And I don't know who's.
He gets the easy one.
He gets the easy. You get the easy one, he said.
All right, on our consent calendar, we have, I guess I move for the approval of the consent calendar. We have an OLCC application and recommended approval for Eastside Vineyards LLC, DBA Paradise Vineyards in Silverton. And under Business Services, approve amendment number 1 with Pioneer Trust Bank to add $174,975.32 for tenant improvements for leased office space at 3867 Wolverine Northeast, Building F in Salem.
Second it?
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you, that's done. And under our first item under action is a,
Acclamation.
wait a minute. That's interesting. my printed agenda does not match what I'm looking at on my computer. I have community services. Oh, yeah. Never mind, I was looking at consent. What did we say about me needing somebody to take care of me? Yeah.
Foster. You mean a
Yeah,
foster-
I needed a
You need a foster
foster
parent.
person to take care of me, but you reminded me that was for smart dogs, and I'm not qualified for that today. Okay, so under Community Services, consider approval of a proclamation designated the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Marion County. Tamara is here, Sheriff Myers is here. Is Patrice here? Okay, and Allison and Shaney, Pete Teller, and Leslie Middle School. I don't know who all is here, but of those people that I just called up, unless we have a slideshow. Do we have a slideshow?
Yes.
Okay, then we're going to be right in front then. Thank you. And obviously, I didn't do a really good job of saying who was here, so if you could introduce yourself for the record as you speak, that would be very helpful.
Come on up here, Shani. You can't hide in the wings. Trying. Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Tamara Getch, Community Services. We're here today to talk about child abuse prevention, and I'm joined today, we're going to just move this around.
Julie Hilty with Family Building Blocks. Shani Starr, Executive Director, CASA of Marion County.
Allison Kelly with Liberty House.
Pete Teller, Leslie Middle School.
Jason Meyer, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Sorry to the viewing audience for all that noise. So again, we're here today to talk to you about Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I just wanted to kind of give a little history. I started with the county in 1989. And it was at that time that I recall in the board's office committing our county's efforts and interest in children and family issues, efforts, and connections within our community. I've been really fortunate to be able to see the county's work over those long years and been very grateful for the opportunity to work with the kids, families, communities, and these wonderful partners that are representing us here today for child abuse prevention. However, I just want to reiterate that though we're here today, there are hundreds of people in the community that are battling, preventing, and supporting those that are needing to bring forward efforts to help our community be healthy and well around prevention. We're not here today to talk about our individual organizations, but really to have a call to our community and the organizations of which we work with to bring forward the work that is needed for child abuse prevention. So our theme this year is similar than what we've had in the past. Everyone has a role in preventing child abuse. Arrow, not working. Maybe it's this arrow. There we go. All right. So we have had a committee that has been working in Marion County to put together the efforts that have happened in Marion County around child abuse prevention. Last week, someone mentioned the tree earlier, and we had a rally that Shani and her team put together. However, it was representing our community and organizations that are not even here today, or that are even beyond those that are even beyond this list of people who helped us put the efforts together.
Thank you so much. We do want to give a special thank you to Salem Electric because they are the ones that took the time and effort to hang those blue ribbons on the tree. And there should be over 11,000 ribbons. They represent each of the confirmed cases of child abuse back in 2017. And with that, just kind of go over the numbers. These are the cases, the numbers that we're looking at represent a fraction of all the numbers that were reported. I know when I started at Liberty House 5 years ago, there were 8,500 calls to the child abuse hotline for Marion and Polk counties. In 2017, there were 10,500 calls to the hotline for Marion County alone. And so with that, researchers tell us that even just 5 to 10% of all cases ever get reported. So with that, this confirmed case of 1,047 may not really tell the whole story, but that next number, 45% of victims are younger than 6, really reminds us that we're talking about a lot of vulnerable kids. The positive news with these numbers is that researchers tell us that over 95% of child abuse and neglect is preventable. And I think one thing that we do during this month is try to connect the dots. So earlier, when you were honoring your volunteer with the juvenile department, we do know that there was a really big connection between children who've been maltreated and then really having engagement later on in juvenile justice. And so that's one of the reasons why it's so important to work harder to prevent. The last thing that I wanted to mention is that a very high percentage of children who experience maltreatment do that at the hands of a family member or someone living in their home. And so that statistic alone suggests how important it is for families, for us to continue supporting families and working with all of our families in the county.
So if you step on a Chariot's bus in April, you might see this sign. This sign is actually up on all of the buses, inside the buses. And obviously, we all agree parenting is messy, but it is oh so much better with support. And we want everyone, especially riding the buses, to know that they're not alone and how hard it can be sometimes. And so we want them to know that these agencies surround them and want to walk alongside them in the work of parenting. So I want you guys to imagine for a moment a community that focuses on prevention. As you can imagine at Family Building Blocks and really all of our agencies, we believe the best solution to child abuse and neglect is to prevent it in the first place. So we know statistically to do this is by partnering with parents and supporting parents, but also these list of ideas are really ways they speak for themselves about spending time and building relationship with children in your lives, recognizing that parents and adult mentors are important, and learning to talk to your children about safe touch and get trained. I want to point out, obviously, to our commissioners that we want to thank you for supporting the organizations that focus on prevention, and then also really all the organizations that put children first and families first. Prevention has to begin somewhere, and it happens when you become aware and act.
So I've said this before when I've been up here in the past. As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to protect a child. All of us, every single one of us have a responsibility to act, to report if we learn of suspected child abuse. Just some statistics, 78% of the reports of suspected child abuse come from mandatory reporters. These are firefighters, nurses, doctors, but it takes all of us. So I think it is active in the community, and it is just as much of a responsibility as a parent, as a grandparent, as it is for a law enforcement officer or a nurse to report suspected child abuse. We have put together a video we'd like for you to watch, and so we're going to play it for you.
So when everyone entered in the room today, you may have seen on the table near the flowers some cards that say, "I will." And this is an opportunity for anyone in our community to fill in what on that line, what they would do and what they will do to prevent child abuse. We invite you and everyone in the community to fill out that card. I have mine posted outside my office, and mine says, "I will advocate to prevent child abuse." That form is also posted on the website that you will see later for people to access for themselves. We would like to also, I will just pause for a moment.
It works on my computer.
We thought we were playing it.
No, that was me
Yeah.
in our
Well, it was a great
documents.
video that was sponsored by.
We'll look at it.
And that was put together by the students at the at CTech. And so I think that's along with our students that are here from the middle school. I think that's really says a lot about our community, and that our students are getting involved in putting together videos, and they're coming with us to our kickoff rally. They're here today to let us and to actually lead us as adults in how to prevent child abuse. And they really are, as Allison said on Friday, they're our future, and they're why we're here. And so that was a great reminder for all of us, Allison. We encourage you on the back of those signs, there is a list of ways for you to participate in, and it looks like we are about ready to start the video, so I'll just finish my thought. Anyway, on the back of the card, there are several ways to participate in how you can prevent child abuse, and we just invite everyone to read those ideas and pick 3 that you can really focus on day in and day out, and how you can participate in preventing child abuse. So with that, we will revisit our video.
Good morning, Commissioners, everyone. My name is Pete Teller, counselor at Leslie Middle School. Very happy to be here. Just want to bring your attention to maybe one of the 3 things that you can do to prevent child abuse is actually help us by taking the Hands and Words and Not for Hurting pledge this morning. Really simple, and it gives us a commitment that we can apply to our life for the entire year. We're also here with a group of students from Leslie Middle School, our peer helpers. And we're going to actually, in just a moment, lead everyone in taking the hands and words, so not for hurting pledge. But I just want to bring to everyone's attention that Marion County now represents a rich cultural community within the area we serve. And so we have groups of students who will actually say the pledge first in their community language. So we'll have students that'll say the pledge in Marshallese, followed by Swahili, then in Spanish, and then following those, we will all take the pledge in English. So we'll have our students come up and do that at this time.
Hi, my name is Roseanne Mark, and I'm an 8th grader from Leslie Middle School.
Hi, my name is Ellerina Avo, and I'm an 8th grader at Leslie Middle School.
And hi, my name is Gracious, and I'm a 7th grader at Leslie Middle School. We will be speaking the pledge in Marshallese. Ngai ban.
Kajarbal Peyu.
Agnan Goau.
Ngan Kematak.
Yambagay.
Agrochat.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, I'm Nikessa Higdon. I'm an 8th grader at Leslie Middle School, and I will be saying the pledge in Swahili. Sita tumia, mikano yangu, ama maneno kuumiza mtu yeyote.
And now in Spanish.
Hello, my name is Monica Flores, and I'm an 8th grader at Leslie Middle School.
Hi, my name is Emily Torres. I'm a 7th grader at Leslie Middle School.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Camacho, and I'm a 7th grader from Leslie Middle School. Now we will be doing the pledge in Spanish. No usaré
mis manos o mis palabras
para lastimar
a otros
o
a mí mismo.
Thank you as well. And now finally, we'll have audience participation as we do it in English.
Hi, my name is Ave Anderson, and I'm a 7th grader at Leslie Middle School.
My name is Josiah Pickering, and I'm a 7th grader at Leslie Middle School. Please raise your right hand and join us in saying in the pledge. I will not.
I will not
Use my hands.
use my hands
Or my words.
or my words
For hurting myself.
for hurting myself
Or others.
or others.
So Commissioners, this is our presentation, and I'm just really thankful for these young people, not only for being here, but for covering up any kind of flub that we've had with the video. You've forgotten all about it because they were so awesome. So thank you very much, and if you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
I usually
Yes,
do.
go ahead.
Oh, Jane, did you have something? No. Jason, you can just nod. I know the answer because I've always turned on Walt. He's not here any longer. And the question I'm looking for is so simple, but it isn't. Are things getting better? And I don't see a happy nod. So we'll just keep trying. All right. Thank you.
Anything?
No, thank you all for being here. I know it can be a little bit intimidating coming in here and speaking in public, so good job. Y'all did great.
So,
Chair, go ahead.
You go ahead, Sam.
I was just going to make a motion.
Oh, I just want to say this, Pete, and I know you've heard this, but for the students, I know the first time I was exposed to this was in 2014, I believe, in the fall, and I don't see bracelets up here today, but I've got a few extra up in my room, and I've been wearing this bracelet since 2014. I've given several away and continue to wear it all the time, and people always kind of asked me about it, and I'm able to share that. But I know personally, and I want to address the students here, that I'm not always perfect at this. And it's okay to make a mistake, apologize, and try to become better at it. And none of us are perfect, but we can all try to be better. And Commissioner's question to the sheriff, is it getting better? And we didn't see a happy nod out there. But it starts with each one of us individually. And whether you want to change the world or change the only way you can do that is by changing yourself and how you. And one of the things that I realized, it took me a long time, is stuff happens to you. People do things that you just can't realize that they would do it. But how you react to that, how I react to that, is really critical, because you can stop it by your reaction and reflecting back and loving those people in a special way that others go, wow, I can't believe you reacted that way to that particular situation. So I just want to encourage the students that are here today to remember that when you see somebody that maybe isn't quite there like you are, that they do have a number one on their forehead. They are created for a purpose, and they have some good things in it. And I think it's up to us to help them find their passion and what excites them. So thank you for what you're doing in your school, with your neighbors and your families and your friends. And we'll continue to wear the bracelet and remember every time we go to look at somebody. And I know we tease each other a lot up here, and it's in fun, but sometimes we have to reflect that on our own. So thank you for being here today. And
Funny you'd mention that, because I'll just tell you what happened. So I realized that Pete and the kids were here today, so I let a couple snide comments on the dog thing go by.
Yeah.
It works. They're all happier.
Yeah. He probably wanted me to be in the dog suit or something like that, the bite suit. Yeah.
Chair Cameron, I'd like to make a motion. We do approve the proclamation that designates the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Marion County.
I second the motion.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to approve the proclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, and we will read the proclamation. Commissioner, you want to start it off?
Happy to. In the matter of proclaiming April Child Abuse Prevention Month, the proclamation. This matter came before the Marion County Board of Commissioners at its regularly scheduled meeting of April 10th, 2019, to proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas every child deserves to live in a safe, loving, and caring family environment, and
Whereas in 2017, there were 11,077 reported victims of child abuse and neglect in Oregon, of which 1,047 were victims in Marion County. And whereas we endeavor to join together as individuals, organizations, and government agencies to prevent child abuse in our county, providing opportunities to educate, train, and support caregivers, and by raising awareness of relevant topics, including child development, basic care skills, discipline strategies, and goal setting for parents. And
whereas by strengthening families and providing safe, stable, and nurturing environments that are free from violence, abuse, and neglect, opportunities are created for children's optimal growth and success, ensuring a secure future for our communities, where the needs of children are a priority and the needs of families are met. Now, therefore, the Marion County Board of Commissioners ask everyone to join together in protecting our children, and does hereby proclaim April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, dated at Salem, Oregon, this 10th day of April 2019. And we have a couple of copies here.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, John.
if I might, I thank the sheriff when he left for using the word grandparents. I am one. And my grandkids are very important to me. So keep that in mind.
We're going to do a picture with the students and a pledge? Okay. John, you need to come down for this picture too. Allison, squeeze in. There we go.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Commissioner, how many grandchildren do you have?
Indeed. Like 6, I think. Not the production I should have. I got 5 kids. I don't know what they're doing.
I've got 2 girls and I've got 3 grandsons.
Actually, I had a visit while we were just kind of, my granddaughter showed up at about 8 this morning. Yeah, we sat down and I brought up the iPad. She likes this baby shark thing. Yeah, she does a dance. I didn't really dance with her. I kind of kept a little rhythm going.
She's starting to like you now.
No, but
Yeah.
you can buy her with the right music.
And then we have, Commissioner,
I have
you're
no
a long
gran-
ways
I have
away.
no grandchildren.
Yeah, but you have
I have 4
3
children.
3 or 4 now?
4.
4 wonderful children. Yeah. One's only, 9 months old? What's your youngest?
She's about to be 11 months old.
11 months.
Yeah.
Keep track
Starting
of
to
that.
walk.
She is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah.
Until they get into everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she can already crawl like a champ, so we're kind of way past that point.
Fantastic. Okay. I know these gentlemen have been waiting. They've got 3 action items in a row here. Our next action item is under Public Works to consider approval of an order appointing Brian Vincent as Marion County Engineer.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Nicholas, Marion County Public Works Director. I'm here this morning to introduce you to Brian Vincent and discuss a proposed order to appoint him as our county engineer. So, Brian Vincent is a professional civil engineer. During his career, he has served as a Navy Civil Engineer Corps officer, operations manager for Clark County Public Works in Washington, the Public Works Director for San Juan County Public Works, and a good long stretch as the Multnomah County engineer. In fact, I first met Brian when, during my consulting career, he was actually a client of mine, so I had the chance to work on a number of, high visibility, fairly high risk bridge projects, because a lot of them were the movable bridges downtown that were under Brian's jurisdiction. And what really impressed me during those projects was his ability to navigate a very complex political environment, high visibility projects that had a fair element of risk. If those bridges were not operational, it had a big impact on the city. And really his ability to steer a steady ship and help the team make good decisions along the way. Brian joined Public Works as our engineering division manager on March 25th, so he's been serving in that capacity since then. The order in front of you would appoint him as our county engineer, and it's my belief he is extremely well qualified for that role. And we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I thought you'd be happy there was no Clackamas County experience with that.
Well, I'm not going to say anything anymore.
I give you all the opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm just very encouraged that you know how to make bridges happen. We've had some struggles with that around here.
Well, I know this position is critically important, and one of the things that I really appreciate the leadership and the changes that are happening to make us more, how do I want to say this, to really see how we can get things done, and with the community and the people, the partners, the stakeholders in our community, you can just see and feel the changes. And I don't know how many Brians we have to have in the Public Works Department to make it successful, but keep them coming, right? Yeah. Of course, there's another B sitting in the audience going, well, my name's not Brian, but another great individual. So we really appreciate the movement towards getting things done, and thank you. Brian, welcome aboard. So we'll make that official.
Just one serious comment. We've been a little bit hamstrung by not having the engineering capacities that we needed to in the county. So Brian's got his work to do. We've heard that at your housing meetings, the holdups. We want to move things along and make things happen in Marion County, Brian, so welcome and good luck.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything?
No, well, yes, I would, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity to serve the community. There is, what I've seen so far is there is plenty of opportunity to do some good work. I'm quite amazed about the very favorable environment I've seen so far, so very happy to be here.
Well, this is your first time you've been in front of the commissioners, so that image might change after you leave here today, right? Yeah. All right, so I think we've got a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve an order appointing Brian Vincent as Marion County Engineer.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve him as an engineer. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, I signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. That's official. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
All
our
right,
next, still under Public Works, consider approval of an order appointing Chris Trussell as the Marion County building official.
All right. Yes, so I'm also here to introduce Chris and discuss the proposed order to appoint him as our county building official. So Chris has been with Marion County for just about 15 years, all within the building division. He's an example of somebody that came on board as an entry-level position, first as a building inspector, moving on to a subject matter expert, and he's currently has been serving as our assistant county building official. My experience with Chris has really been, well, you know, the building official's office. The building official, it's an important statutory role. The purpose of that role is to really allow development to happen, but that development needs to occur in conformance with the state building code and our county building codes. And so the building official can have a very positive influence on that process or can kind of dampen down development. And Chris is definitely on the facilitate the process and help people be successful side of the house. And that's really impressed me during my time working with Chris. He is absolutely qualified, knows the building code inside and out, and has been a really steady leader for the building division in his role as the assistant building official. He's ready to step up to that higher role. But I'd also be happy to answer any questions that you might have about Chris and his experience with the county.
Would you like to say anything, Chris, before we start drilling you?
Well, I'd just like to say, like I said, I've been with Marion County for 14 and a half years or so. Had no interest of leaving. I really enjoy the county, the atmosphere I work in, the staff that I supervise. Just great working atmosphere, and I don't anticipate leaving anytime soon. So that's just kind of how I feel about Marion County right now. So.
Great, thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Chair.
John?
You have a name that rings for many, many years. I think your dad worked for Marion County.
Yeah, that was Jim Trussell. He's actually my father's cousin.
Oh.
So there is relation there, but distant. He also spent almost 30 years in Marion County as the as the senior plant examiner. So I kind of also grew up under him, developed my skills and career kind of mentoring through him also. So
Jim was a great guy
Yeah.
and a really good employee. We appreciated having him. Sorry when he retired.
So, no, I was going to ask the same question. So.
Just a comment. One of the things that I've been really impressed with Brian's work and some of the other folks in Public Works is how creative they are in doing their jobs. You know, you can have something that seems like a conflict or a roadblock, and a lot of the folks that you work with figure out ways to comply with the law or do the right thing that works for everybody. And so Brian says that you're going to continue doing that sort of work, and so I just appreciate that.
So I do have a question. What processes are underneath the building inspector?
Under the building inspector as the building department?
Building official, excuse
The
me.
building official. So the building official oversees the whole entire building department as the jurisdiction. He's the one that administers all the technical questions, has all the technical answers. He also supervises the lower management positions such as assistant building official, building inspectors, plans examiners, permit technicians, and also our on-site wastewater department. So he just oversees the big part of it, and then also just manages, make sure everything's in compliance with the state requirements for building code requirements and also state legislation, certification rules, just all kinds of things. So it's a big role.
So Chris, one of the things we've experienced in the past, and I think things have changed though, you said on-site wastewater. Would that be the septic inspections, et cetera? Would that be under your supervision?
That is correct, yes.
So one of the things, this was 3 years ago, I did a ride-along with the septic inspection, and I also did ride-alongs with the building inspectors, and I found it interesting that our building inspectors called ahead, had appointments that day or that morning, and said, I will be out to do this electrical inspection or whatever, and so there was a checkpoint. There was a process that I saw, but I didn't see that in the septic inspections. We didn't make phone calls ahead of time. We got to a place, they weren't ready for us, and there was some inefficiencies there, and hopefully you're going to be able to look at that, and Brian, maybe you already are, and I think we've gotten better because we've hired staff, but one of the biggest issues that we've faced, and as far as feedback over the years, has been how short or how long that process is. And we heard it in one of the meetings, how long the expectation should be. And I'm looking forward, I know Commissioner's working on this really, but we're looking forward to working with you and any support we can give to help make sure those, I think expectations and processes that are in place that we can tell our stakeholders, look, this is what our expectation or your expectation is, and we're going to meet that for you. And if not, we're going to let you know that. So I think that would be a really great thing, that there's an opportunity in our community to change the perception of how we've done business there.
Sure. So just to let you know, we have already started that process. We've already had some changes within our Marion County Code to change some policies, or not policies, but procedures, how we approach the time frame issue, get permits issued quicker, things like that. So it is a process that I've already started, and it has changed. We've also have 3 on-site specialists now, which really helps the improvement and delivery of permits and inspection timelines.
Great.
So that's something we're working on.
Yeah. And just continuing to keep that communication with our stakeholders, like, going to the Home Builders Association and having a meeting and saying, hey, how are we doing on these things? Sure. And making sure that they see we're with them. So I really appreciate that, and congratulations. I guess we need a motion to make sure we can say congratulations, or did we?
No, I wanted to.
Oh, but I kept talking.
No, you bring up a good point. I was actually thinking just prior, maybe it'd be nice to have Chris come and meet with us, and I don't know a good format other than management update, but I think I can say this, that this is my feeling, and I believe it's yours too, is we really want the attitude to be how we can help you do what you're trying to do, not how we can find the roadblocks, but to make things happen. So if you're able to do that, thank you. So I would, Chair Cameron, make a motion that we do approve an order appointing Chris Trussell as Marion County Building Official.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair. I had a conversation with Brian asking the same thing for a discussion about permitting. So my understanding is you're working on that, is that right?
Yes, we're working to schedule a work session so we can give you a comprehensive brief on the whole permitting process.
Great.
Yep, and where we're at with some of those initiatives.
Right.
Thank you.
Where you're at and where you want to go. Yeah, good. Okay, we have a motion, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of appointing Chris to the Marion County, as a Marion County building official, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
And then the last item under Public Works and the man with the other B, Brandon, is here, is to consider adoption of an administrative ordinance concurring in the City of Jervis Urban Growth Boundary Amendment. Are we excited about this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Brandon Reich, staff representing the Planning Division of Public Works. This matter comes before the board at the request of a property owner for concurrence in and adoption of an amendment to the Jervis urban growth boundary. The proposal to add 0.53 acres to the UGB meets a portion of the city's identified need for housing for the year 2038. Once the property is brought into the city and annexed, 2 or 3 dwellings could be developed on the land. The city held a public hearing on the amendment last July and approved an ordinance amending the city's urban growth boundary. In January this year, planning received a request to consider this, to bring before the board to consider the amendment, and the county initiated the process to consider the amendment in February and held a hearing on March 20th this year. After receiving testimony, the board closed the hearing, approved the matter, and directed staff to return with an ordinance reflecting its decision. Last week, the board scheduled adoption of this ordinance for today. Staff recommends that the Marion County Board adopt an ordinance concurring in the 0.53 acre amendment to the City of Jervis urban growth boundary for residential land and rezoning the property to urban transition 20 acre. With that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
We've seen this. Any questions? All right. Take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt an administrative ordinance concurring in the City of Jervis Urban Growth Boundary Amendment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, go build 3 houses. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Brandon, thanks for your work on this.
Thank you.
And it was great to see you last night up at the listening session.
It was fantastic.
I thought they did it. We're done with our business, so we can chat. I thought they did a really good job of saying this is what we're here to talk about tonight. It was about airspace and aviation, and they got people excited about coming back for another meeting.
Very much.
And the presentation on the helicopter got applause, right? I mean,
cool.
HTS, Helicopter Transport Service, and that helicopter, 2,400 gallons of water, it sucks up in 40 seconds. That thing just puts these hoses down in the lake. In fact, they were practicing up in the lake. One of the pilots told me they were practicing up at Detroit Lake the day that fire broke out, about a month ago. Well, they didn't get the call.
Oh.
He said, we could have made one dump on that thing with that helicopter and just put it out. But he said, nobody called us. They didn't, whatever. It's like 2,400 gallons.
They were amazing. They're 88 feet long, and they're just as big as you can imagine.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing to see them in operation.
It'd be fun to fly in one.
It would be.
Speaking of operation, it's related. I had a O&C meeting in Grants Pass. We took some jet boat rides on the evening before, and that was when that fire down there was just getting going, and they brought in those helicopters. So we were on the jet boats watching them run the snorkel down, and it didn't take very long, and up to the top of the hill they go, and that was more than impressive.
Yeah, how deep do you say the water needed to be? Like 10 inches or something?
Yeah, I don't remember.
18 inches or so.
18 inches?
Something like that.
Can you imagine hovering a helicopter and not letting it go more than that far down because you suck up rocks or whatever?
Nope.
Those guys have got to be amazing pilots.
Their skill is just off the charts.
And the other thing that was really cool about it was he talked about the difference between those types of operations versus the ones that dangle buckets. How did he say? What was the terminology?
That's right.
Oh, they weren't attached to the frame of the structure.
Underhanging or something like
Yeah,
that?
if they are dangling buckets, they're not allowed to fly over homes. But with that type of operation, they can fly over homes. So like in California, they can use those things. And I think Columbia has some of the same equipment too, Columbia helicopters. But they're one of 5 worldwide companies that fly the largest helicopters in the world, and they're right here in Aurora.
Some of the biggest right here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being there too. It's good to have our planner there,
I learned a lot about airspace. They've talked
Yeah.
to me about that over the years, but it's incredibly complex, and to hear the pilots talk about it and show diagrams was really helpful. Still very complicated to fly an airplane.
Yeah. But the bottom line, and I think he said it a couple times, he probably should have said it a couple more times, is that if a pilot wants to do something else, he can do it, right?
Safety comes
He wants to
first.
fly in and turn over Charbonneau because he's got to be able to have the ability to be safe and whatever that means. So it was good. Thanks for being there.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here, Brandon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for getting this across the finish line. I mean, I know I'm new, but wow, that was a lot of work to get this little thing done.
0.53 acres into the
Yeah.
urban growth boundary. You want to read the calendar, Commissioner?
I sure do. Let me go find it.
What do you need? You need a calendar?
Today is April 10th. It's 9 a.m. and we're in board session in the Center Hearing Room at 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. This afternoon at noon, we're going to be at the SEDCOR Monthly Business Lunch located at the Broadway Commons, 1300 Broadway Street Northeast in Salem. On Thursday, tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning, we have the Kaiser Marion County meeting at Sherry's Restaurant located at 4998 River Road North in Kaiser. At noon tomorrow, April 11th, we have the County Community Forum hosted by Kaiser Rotary located at the Kaiser Community Center, 930 Shamawa Road Northeast in Kaiser. Again tomorrow, Thursday, at 4 in the afternoon, we have the Health and Human Services Silverton Road grand opening located at Building F, 2045 Silverton Road Northeast in Salem. On Monday, April 15th at 8:30 in the morning, we have calendar review located at the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of this building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. On Monday at 9 a.m., April 15th, we have management update located at the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of this building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. At 1 p.m. on Monday, April 15th, we have a BOC CAO meeting and an executive session if needed pursuant to ORS 192.660. That's located at the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of this building. On Tuesday, April 16th at 8 in the morning, we have a Courthouse Square breakfast benefiting the Marion County Employee Food Drive, located at Courthouse Square, Suite 5150 in this building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. On April 16th, that's Tuesday, at 3:30 in the afternoon, we're going to tour the new Marion Ag facility, located at 9700 St. Paul Highway in Aurora. On April 17th, Wednesday at 9 a.m., we have board session located in this room at 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem.
All right. Busy week, anything?
Yeah.
Want to talk about? Yeah.
I got an interesting afternoon. I head to Westland about now to continue work on opening the locks up. Seems like that's moving. They have a agency that might oversee it, the potential funding. Real opportunities for commercial and recreational activity. I'm excited about it. But then I come back. Brian Nicholas was here, of course, and they're trying to get me some information, be testifying about the impacts of a partially completed Newburgh-Dundee bypass to the legislature at 5:30. So I'm hoping they get these facts, but we know, at least I know, the increased traffic, the increased accidents. I've mentioned this as we go around, and have you listened? There's a bad accident in that area just about every week, and it is related.
I think you should take, remember the handout he brought us yesterday? That'd be a really good thing.
Yes.
These are the improvements that we're working
They're
on.
trying to get together some of the aspects of the before and after the increase in traffic.
Right.
And I'm going to tell them this. We fought for, the whole time I've been here, and perhaps a decade before, different plans that had bypasses that dumped traffic to relieve the metro area and even the coast, dump it through Marion County, taking up farmland. And we worked on this Newburgh-Dundee bypass, but leaving it undone has had that just exact effect. All that traffic gets dumped into us to handle, overwhelming. And I'm still angered at an agreement they made locally about 4 years ago to design it where Wilsonville Road, the direct route to the freeway in Wilsonville from the end of the bypass, to make it not that you can't get there, to force them to come our way. And that was a little local agreement they made without even asking us. So there's a little burnt feathers, I guess.
What else happened last week?
I forget day to day, don't ask me
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah. We had a great presentation from our Public Works on the roads and bridges. That was really good.
Yeah, that was quite good.
Last night, we went to the airport listening session. That was great. Monday, well, I know what happened this week.
That you fell in love and decided to support the covered Scotts Mills Bridge?
I did.
Really?
Exactly. You saw that's moved
I
up on the
think-
list.
yeah, I know it. I'm
I don't know
pretty
about
pleased.
covered bridge, but
Oh.
I support the bridge because that's gonna help our rating go up. But, you said fell in love. I'm going, I don't know if I fell in love, but.
Well, you seem to accept it, that's almost the
Okay,
same
accepted
thing.
is a better word. But I know what happened this week is the darn Detroit Lake filled
Oh,
up. And
overnight?
Over 3 or 4 days. And you know, people have criticized Army Corps from the standpoint of saying, in fact, I did the other night. I remember I said, yeah, well, I'm not going to say anything bad about Army Corps. Was that Tuesday night at Gates? But they've criticized, like, Army Corps said they could fill that lake in a 3-day event. Well, this is one of those events where it was, it was coming up, but it's 50, 60 feet it rose in matter since like Wednesday or Thursday.
It may be dumb luck, but at least by having it full, they had the capacity to deal with it better than the other dams especially in the south, Dorena, et cetera, Blue River, they're all at max, overflowing, causing flooding.
Yeah, I did some Facebook Live stuff and people really appreciated it, but it's nothing you can put on Facebook on a video compared to being there and seeing this water. We were talking about the rock. I mean, now you can understand how boulders, I mean, it was just pouring, rushing in from Sandy Am. I went up around Blowout. There was a house down there on the Blowout Bridge that literally had water around it. That thing's going to be wet, right? And then up on the Brighton Bush,
Yeah,
it was just like a avalanche of water rolling in. It was all brown and
Yeah, Jason mentioned the
Trees.
mud, and I wonder if that fire up there a couple of years ago makes that worse when they get the
I'm
first
sure
real
it does.
rainfall
Yeah.
since then.
yeah, really heavy. So that was interesting. It's a good thing. And Scott, is it Gomez, the deputy who he's taken over for Dave Zahn, who's doing the Marine patrol up there. He was out on the lake yesterday in the boat and just kept sucking up debris in his jet. So,
The jets don't work so good when there's a lot of flotsam.
Yeah.
Good work.
So there's going to be a big cleanup up there, and I did talk to Dave, who, I'm trying to think of his last name, who's the new replaced Grady, the new forest ranger up there, and because we gave back, I think we gave back $25,000 in some of those rec dollars. They're going to use that to help skim
good.
the lake this
It's
year.
gonna need it, huh?
Yeah, they do it every year, but this year they're going to need even more, so.
There was a collection program that the county participated in. Is that
Yeah, we
still
still
going on?
do.
I mean, are the
What-
logs, et cetera?
Right. So what happens there is it's a Forest Service issue, but they contract with our inmate crews.
And it is ongoing, because I thought I heard
They
somewhere
do it
it wasn't.
they do it after I don't know when the timing is, but after the water comes up and everything settles a little bit, then they go out and they skim the lake and with boats and these guys get in the water to drag these nets around and stuff. And then they take it over there there's a little spot where they drag all the wood, and then some of it's, in fact, I walked out there on Saturday. They have a pile of wood that's for seniors, for firewood that you can go out and cut. I guess I could qualify for that. And then they have a pile of wood over here that says, do not cut, they're gonna sell it. Logs that are big enough they can sell. So.
Well, I need to head to West Lynn if you'll
All right,
button this up.
okay, we will adjourn.